We
28th of September, Rabbi Furst, Havos Halavovos. We're doing Yom Kippur
very good.
now?
Yeah. If you have a sitter nearby, you're learning about the Avinu Malkeinu.
Oh, good. See, that's right after the Shemona Esrei?
Yeah, look in your sitter right after Shmona. So you should have a copy of the Avinu Malkeinu there.
Before the Torah reading,
Oh,
That's
yes.
correct.
before
That's right.
Tachanun.
That's right.
Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
So the first question is, we have here, I believe it's we'll have to think. I think there are 24 statements here in the Avinu Malkeinu. We'll double check about that. Question is what is this? I mean, what is a volcano? Is it praise? Is it thanksgiving? Is it tshuva? Is it bakasha? It seems to be a combination of all these elements. So, for example, the first thing, Avinu Malkeinu Chatanot V'necha. That seems to have a lot to do with tshuva, right? Vidui, acknowledgement of the person's. The person should acknowledge that he did something wrong. That's the first step in doing tshuva. But then now, Avinu Malkeinu, the second statement, Ein lanu melech el atah. What is that? Is that still part of tshuva? Is that now praise? Is that thanksgiving? That statement's not so clear. Then you move to the third statement, Asi Yamanu, Yaman Shemecha. It's clearly bakasha. But it's obviously blatant, very very general. It's a very general statement. So here in these first three statements, you have three very different elements. You have one has to do with tshuva, vidui. Second one has to do with probably just acknowledgement of Hakadosh Baruch Hu. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if it's praise of Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Ein lanu melech el atah. That's, would you consider that to be praise? And the third statement, a very general request, not being specific at all. So now that we move on to the fourth statement, go ahead, Mary, continue if you like.
Okay, so this is Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova. That's definitely a request, it looks like to me.
Right, very true. It's also getting a little bit more specific, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more specific.
I wonder what
Right.
Kadesh means. My English says inaugurate.
Kadesh.
Kadesh also can also mean renew. Right? With the year that the yearly cycle is beginning again. It could be that we're asking the Kadosh Baruch Hu renew the cycle. The cycle of the year is beginning again. So it should be refreshed, and that it should be a Shana Tova. Um, just want to contrast this for a moment. Um, those things which we add, right? Those things we add in Shemona Esrei. All those things the four additions that we make to our Shemona Esrei, aside from the actual brachas of Hamelech HaKodesh and Hamelech HaMishpat, those four additions don't make any mention about the new year. If you notice, not any mention of the new year whatsoever. That's in here at the very beginning of our Vino Makena, we're making mention of the new year, or during the rest of the year when we say it, Barech Aleinu Shana Tova. Here there's a mention about the about the year. Okay, let's continue on.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, so now we're at Avinu Malkeinu, Batel Me'aleinu Kol Gezerot Kashot. So now we're asking Hashem, our King, to nullify the harsh decrees on us. So
that's now another request. We've had this is the third request, being more specific.
yeah, so what? Okay, so going back to the Amida,
Yeah,
when we ask Hashem, Zachreinu L'chaim, to remember us for life, right?
correct.
The king that wants life. So doesn't somehow this relate to it if we're asking Hashem to nullify the harsh decrees that we want to live life the way He expects us to live life.
Right.
So if the past, if the then the sins or whatever we did in the past would be nullified for the new year. Again, like what we said before, we're starting with a clean slate.
Right. That all the gezeres are are an outcome of our own actions. Hashem's
Right.
not making gezeres for no reason whatsoever. The zeros are necessary that whatever Kadosh Baruch Hu deems fit that needs to occur to bring us back to our senses. So that's what Hashem um, will be decreeing. So, so here we're asking that those gezeras be rescinded. Meaning, it could be because of based on our actions, could be that the gezeras would be necessary, but we're nevertheless asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu to rescind those gezeras and allow us to perhaps return to Him without the necessity of gezeras.
Hmm.
If we can do that, that would be ideal.
Right.
But isn't that counterproductive?
In what way?
We need these gezeras. Um, it says in the Gemara that the righteous person gets problems in this world to clean him up, so that when he gets to Olam Haba, he's clean. Whereas the wicked person has good things happen to him in this world, so that when he gets to Olam Haba, he doesn't have any merits. So
Right.
we want to get cleaned up in this world. We want to have problems. I mean,
Right,
we don't want problems that are not appropriate, but if there's a decree, that means it's appropriate, right? It means Hashem has determined that we need this to happen to us. And if we say don't do it, then that would seem to be counterproductive.
right. So here that could be why we're not simply saying in general bato me'aleinu kol gezeros. These are specific gezeros kashos. The gezeros kashos are those types of gezeros which are extreme in perhaps their suffering or their intensity or perhaps in their length, right? Uh, the Gemara in Brachas spends in the first parak there spends several amudim um, discussing Yisurim when things go difficult for people, right?
Right.
And the Amoraim themselves, when they were plagued by various different Yisurim, hardships, uh, they they themselves, the Amoraim said they themselves, lo haim, lo skarim. They didn't want the Yisurim, they didn't want the travails of suffering, and they didn't want their reward of it either, because it's not easy to take. Right? It's a very difficult um, situation to emerge successful. Meaning, there's always the um, risk that, in spite of the fact that the Yisurim are for the person's benefit, there's always the big risk that a person will not accept the Yisurim properly, and that will make it even more difficult for him. Yisurim are effective, right, if they're accepted ba'ava, with recognition that they're coming from a Kodesh Baruch Hu, with recognition they're coming because of a person's own failings, and with recognition that it's to his very best benefit. But many times people don't realize that. They don't realize that they're coming from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. They don't recognize they're coming because of their own failings. And they don't recognize that it's really for their best benefit. So if those things happen and they're not recognizing all these three things, then it's not going to be to their to their benefit. So and you see those Amoraim from the Gemara themselves, they were very suspect about themselves that they wouldn't be able to withstand the trials and tribulations of Yisur. So Gezer's cautious. We want to try and have a Kadosh Baruch Hu avoid that for us, even though it's true from a Kadosh Baruch Hu's point of view, that could be the very best thing for us, right? But um, we it's our job. Our job is to ask that the Kadosh Baruch Hu do it some other way. I mean, there's the truth of what we really need. That's one truth, and the truth is that we have to be suspect that we won't be able to accept it properly, in which case it will be to our own detriment. So therefore, our responsibility is to try and ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to alleviate these things before they occur. So from our point of view, our obligation is to ask that Hashem should alleviate these things. That's why it's specifically Gezer's kosher, those things which are they are difficult.
So we're not asking for Hashem to nullify the gezeros that are not kashos.
Right.
So,
Right. Apparently,
so we're saying we want
things are-
those.
Right. These are specifically Gezer's kosher because there's the risk. I think the point is there's a risk here that we may not be able to receive the full benefits that Kadosh Baruch Hu intends with them.
But if we're the ones that are not at that risk, we're the ones that are in shul that are davening because we understand that Hashem's in charge and Hashem is the source. So it would seem that we're the ones that do not have this concern about missing the point.
Yeah, but that's why I mentioned the Gemara and Brachas. The Amoraim themselves said about themselves they didn't want it. They suspected themselves.
But why? They know what's going on. They know that that our attitude should be, thank you, Hashem. I realize that you're doing this to me for a reason, for that it's going to help me. Why would the great rabbis not recognize that?
Well, first and foremost, the Gemara says it involves a lot of Bittul Torah, right? Involves a lot of Bittul Torah. So that was their life. Torah was their life, and they saw that the Yisurim could many times disrupt their learning, right? So
Okay.
likewise we that have to realize that when things are not going so well, it's not so easy to learn, right? And that we lose out the most. That's the Gemara in Chagiga says that the biggest sorrow, the biggest travail of Golas is the Bittul Torah, all the Bittul Torah that's been caused by Golas, tremendous Bittul Torah. So we want to we want it when we're saying Hashem should mevatel Gezer's koshos because at the very least it's going to cause Bittul Torah.
So could we say that learning Torah is a way to do tshuva, to affect a kind of tshuva and thereby prepare us for Olam Haba.
Right.
It's
Right.
better that
That-
we
that-
use that method of preparation for Olam Haba rather than Asurim.
Yeah, if the if the if a person can accept upon himself the all of Torah, he honestly and happily and wholeheartedly um, puts his full mind and soul into learning Torah, then that's the biggest tshuva a person can do. Right? We say that in Shmona Esrei. We say that in Shmona Esrei. We say that in the bracha on tshuva. Right? We say Hashivenu Avinu L'Sorasecha. Right? Hashem should return us to His Torah. V'karvenu Malkeinu Lavadosecha, and we should be drawn close, our King, to serving you. Right? V'chazreina b'tshuva shalema lefanecha, and we should do a tshuva shalema lefanecha. Without Torah, right? It's not a tshuva shalema. You have to have the first thing we ask. Hashiveinu Avinu L'Sorasecha. Hashem should return us to His Torah. Without that, you don't have a voda, right? And you don't have tshuva, right? It all comes through the means of Torah, of learning. So that's very important in the whole process. And many times the gezeres we see many times when the Gemara talks about the gezeres of the goyim on Klal Yisrael. Many times those gezeres were directed specifically towards Torah, learning Torah, and fulfilling mitzvahs. That's going to be one of the big lessons of Hanukkah, right? Hanukkah's not so far away anymore, right? Almost Sukkot. After Sukkot comes Hanukkah, right?
Right.
Right.
You have to start polishing your menorahs. So that's the big lesson of Hanukkah, that they wanted to take Torah away from us. They wanted to take mitzvahs away from us, and we weren't willing to allow it. But it was terrible gezeres. Very bad, very, very, very bad situation during Hanukkah. Very bad. So we want that Kadosh Baruch Hu should accomplish whatever He wants to accomplish with us, but He should do it in a way that's not going to involve the gezeres kashus. Okay, let's do one more, and then we'll probably take a break.
Okay, so it says Avinu Malkeinu, Batel Machshavot Sonenu. So, Father, our King, nullify the thoughts of those who hate us.
Right. So here we see, right, very good. We see right here, what are the gezeres kashus, and right after the gezeres kashus, now we see that we're asking specifically that those who hate us, Hashem should nullify their thoughts. Their bad thoughts about us, Hashem should nullify their thoughts. And that's part of annulling the gezeres kashus. Right? Once Hashem has rescinded the gezeres kashus, so now we can specifically ask that Hashem should now take all thoughts of our enemies about us away from them. Right? Wouldn't it be nice if all the media would stop talking about the Jews?
Let's start the next class in there.
Right? Wouldn't it be nice if all the media would talk about something else besides the Jews? What they only have the Jews to talk about.
So does that also mean that the thoughts of those who hate us have some sort of effect on us?
Uh, well, the thoughts, you have the thoughts, and then uh, uh, that it more importantly, I mean, obviously, we would prefer them not to think about us at all, and but if they're thinking about us, and since there are the people who hate us, um, it's obviously has a strong potential to lead to action. When the Hasid Shalom, they should take any actions against us, right? So
Uh,
it's
yeah.
but
Rabbi, wouldn't we prefer that they thought well of us?
yeah, I tell you what, I prefer they don't think about us at all. Let them just let them just go about their lives without thinking about us. But uh, but on that point, we invented this past Rosh Hashanah. We invented a new where you have the simonim on the nights of Rosh Hashanah. The first night you make simonim. Second night you make simonim. You dip an apple in the honey. All right, you make a bracha. You take carrots maybe, and you make you have a head of a sheep, a head of a fish maybe. Right, the lasagna. We want to be a roast with a lasagna. So we invented a new one on this past Rosh Hashanah. Take yain, you take wine, take yain, and we make a hiratzon. Should ayin tova aleinu. There should be ayin tova on us. We should people should think nicely of us. Very important. The world's not in doesn't seem to be too interested in that these days. They're not thinking very highly of the Jews. After all, aren't we such wonderful people? If we're really such wonderful people, why don't they like us? That's a
Huh.
big question, isn't it?
Very troubling question.
Yep. Very troubling.
Yeah, but
Very
if
serious.
they hate us, that's really their problem, their dilemma. It shouldn't be
Yeah,
ours.
yeah, well, it's their problem, but the only problem is it's we're affected by it. So like I was telling you, around Tisha B'av time, you have to realize, as the Navi says, that we are the prophet clearly depicts Klal Yisrael's the Jewish situation amongst the rest of the goyim as being one sheep surrounded by 70 wolves, right? And as I said there, that wolves, a wolf's diet is sheep. That's what he lives on. Wolves live on sheep. So it's only through the grace and blessings of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we're saved from the wolves. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it that way. He made it that we, the Jewish people, are the um, staple diet of the rest of the nations.
Mm.
Just as a sheep is the staple diet of a wolf. There's nothing more than a wolf likes than sheep. Give a wolf a fresh sheep, and he's a happy boy. He's a happy wolf.
Mm.
So unfortunately for us, but through the wisdom of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Navi tells us that we are the staple diet of the rest of the nations, and the only way we can be protected by that, as the Navi also says, is through adhering to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, adhering to the shepherd. If we
Mm.
pay attention to the shepherd, then the shepherd's going to protect us. But if we don't pay attention, if the sheep don't pay attention to the shepherd, how can the shepherd protect the sheep if they're running off down for greener pastures? They're greener pastures. Why, this little sheep, he's a 6 month little sheep, little lamb, right? In the ivy there, and he sees nice green pasture down there. So he's this little sheep, this little lamb thinks, why am I hanging around over here? It's such nice green grass over there, nice green luscious grass to eat down there. This shepherd doesn't know what he's doing. Doesn't he know I like green grass? So he runs off down into meadow, down with the green grass, and he doesn't realize that there's a pack of wolves down there. The shepherd knows there's a pack of wolves down there. He kept them on the high ground up in the top of the hill. Okay, the grass is not so great on the top of the hill. And it's not like the meadow down below. Yeah, but the wolves are down below. So the sheep runs down there, they're trying running for the green grass, and he winds up into a pack of wolves. He finishes them off. What's the shepherd supposed to do for him?
Right.
So when we listen to the
But you're leaving,
shepherd, we protect.
I think you're leaving out.
What?
I think you're leaving out one factor, which is that um, we're if the nations of the world have a bad attitude towards us, um, that indicates that we're something's wrong with us. It says that it says in the Torah that if we keep Hashem's commandments, then this is your wisdom in the eyes of the nations. That they'll look at us and they'll see, and they'll say, look how great the Jews are. Look how great their God is. That they do all these wonderful things.
Right. So that's the fact. Exactly. That's when we listen to the shepherd, everything's fine. Right? When we listen, they say, "Oh, look at that sheep, that little lamb. Look at that. The wolves look at that little lamb." And they say, "Whoa, it would be so good to sink our claws and our jaws into that little lamb." But that little lamb's listening to the shepherd. He's up there on the high hill with the rest of the sheep in the flock, and with the shepherd there watching over him. So okay, the wolves, all they can do is smile and say, "Okay, I have to wait for a stupid lamb to come along. He's a smart lamb. That lamb's a smart lamb. Even a wolf knows a smart lamb from a stupid lamb."
But it's
But
not
that's right, exactly.
not just a matter of being smart or stupid. It's a matter of being good or bad.
Well, you quoted me the Torah that the Goyim say that's our chokhmah. That's chokhmah is not being good or bad. Chokhmah is wisdom.
Right?
So our wisdom is that that's what we're saying here. That's the first. That was the second Avinu Malkeinu. Ein lanu melech elo atah. We have no other ruler, no other king except you. Right? We us our little the little lambs are following you, our shepherd. And that's it. No other thing to follow. And
Right. And
then
and
after
and,
that, we can,
and
excuse
when
me.
the nations look at us and they say, you guys are terrible, you're evil, um, then they're not saying this is your wisdom.
Right.
They're
So
saying
we have to we
this
have
is
to
not your wisdom.
we have to that's the paradox. That's the very troubling question. If we're such good guys, so why do they seem to have such a bad opinion about us?
Right.
That's the big question. I mean, look, didn't we win enough Nobel prizes to impress them with our wisdom? That doesn't count by them.
No, it doesn't. What they care about is our relationship to Hashem. They see that we're not
Exactly.
doing what Hashem says.
Yeah. Well, yeah, whether they see that consciously or not, right? But that's the fact. Very true, right? I'm not sure if they consciously realize that, but but they definitely spiritually speaking, that's definitely the operating factor over here for sure.
Yeah, I don't know about consciously or unconsciously. If they're saying that we're immoral, that would seem to be indicating that we're not doing what Hashem wants.
That probably is very true. I mean that obviously it has to indicate something, right? So okay, we'll pick this up tomorrow, Mitzvah Shem. continue with it a little bit more. But it's a troubling question that, like, if we're such great guys, they should be. Why shouldn't they be happy with us?
Right.
So, but we'll try and maybe touch on that some more tomorrow. Okay, let's take a little break now. In the meantime, we'll be
I'll
continuing
be
this.
coming in on a different computer in the next year, okay?
Okay, I'll let you in then. I'll look for your.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Okay, see you
see you.
soon.
Thank you, Rabbi. Go ahead,
Okay,
Claire.
see you soon.
Talk to you, Lou.